Okay, so on my screen, you see a big question. I'm reading it one more time. As a teacher or professor, you may have adopted several teaching strategies or learning activities since the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic. Individually, write the name of one or more of the most effective teaching strategy you have been using. So now we go back to our panel and as well as the central questions. I see a lot of good conversation going on in the chat. This is so nice, beautiful, encouraging. So we have a digital hand raise, or you can use physical hand raise. We want to hear your voice, and also the same time, if you have a burning questions to any of our speaker, please, this is the time. We roughly spend about 30 minutes for the discussion, and we want to hear your perspective, how you have been doing. Okay, we take a first question or first note regarding the 1 minute reflection.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Morgan State University, for arranging this webinar. And it is really very wonderful listening to all the keynote speakers. So regarding this 1 minute reflection that you had put across, so I am currently involved as a curriculum leader in GEMS school in Kathmandu in Nepal. And we have been actually going on with the online classes since the beginning of the pandemic. And I think this is our second year that we have been doing the online classes here in our school. As we have gone through several ups and downs, and our teachers are very new to the online platform. And within this 1 year, I must say many teachers have developed various strategies to go through the online classes. And me specifically, I deal with the elementary school children. So you can imagine how difficult it is to keep the children in the, seated for the classes for a long period of time. So it has been really challenging, but despite that, our teachers have been quite efficient and able to, control the class and keep them engaged, and also maintain the interaction among the children. So a few of the things that we have been doing during our online classes, I would like to share is that we have been using the platforms like Zoom and Google Meet for our classes. Specifically for the elementary level, we have been using Zoom platform, which is quite useful and also user-friendly for the teachers because they can share, and at the same time, they can keep an eye on the children also. So that's more useful. And also we have been using Google Classrooms for arranging the assignments and sharing the study materials. Of course, we require help from the parent side for the elementary level students at all times to maintain the Google Classroom and the assignments over there. And apart from that, for the classrooms, we normally use the PowerPoint slides for presenting during the concepts sharing, and from the teacher side, the knowledge sharing is done by the PowerPoint slides. Sometimes we also use various online materials like the YouTube videos, and we also do a lot of activities during the classroom, whatever things is available in the teacher side, whatever they can get a hold of as a teaching material, they make it. Sometimes they improvise, and so that is used during the class. And it is a live session, so the teachers are constantly engaging with the children. And at times, we also allow the children to bring different materials. We share the message beforehand in Viber or any other kind of online platform. And the parents arrange those resources for the children. And so they are ready well before the class starts so that we can engage with the children live. And apart from that, we are also engaging the students in group work using the breakout rooms so that they can have one-on-one discussion and also group discussions among their friends. So, these are a few of the strategies that we have been implementing. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Professor Chitrakar. Appreciated. Then after this, we go to Grace, I guess, Rania. From University of Petros, then we go to Samuel, and then we will go to I believe Sujana Dahal and Asok Bhandari. And then we'll come back to US with our colleagues and expert in the Canada or India for their remarks or the observation.
Okay, yes, okay. Hi, everyone. Well, as I said, thank you very much, Dr. Bista, for giving me the chance to express my opinion on the topic. Well, in Greece, as I said, well, I wrote on the chat, um, uh, attending university class is not compulsory. So if it's not compulsory, if students are not, let me say it, they don't have to go to the class to attend it. So it's important for teachers to find ways to motivate students to attend the classes, and especially for English courses, because it's another mentality in Greece that the English language cannot be taught properly in Greek institutions, in public institutions, and many students attend private colleges to attend the language. It's important to find ways to motivate students to attend classes in the public university. So in my case, I found it, and I've done some research on it. Greek students are very much motivated by doing well, by getting marks, by excelling, by showing to the teacher and to the other classmates that they're doing well. This is part of the Greek mentality, that if they do well at university, then they actually seem as if they are the king in the Greek society. So it's important for teachers to find way to um, uh, to enhance students' ways of doing well at university. So in my case, I've done much research on it, and I saw that the Greek cultural background is very important in teaching, and especially for online classes, it's important to find ways to motivate them to attend it. So that's what my experience.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Still, we will take a couple of minutes to hear the one effective pedagogy or the activities that you have been doing.
I'm there. I'm Srijana. Uh, I'm a public school teacher in Satungal, Kathmandu. And it's a kind of challenging. Okay, it has been a kind of challenge for a government school teacher to jump to adopt these teaching learning activities because of so many problems, such as all the students don't have internet connections or computers, or more than 95 or more than 98% of my students, they don't have a good laptop or computers. They are taking classes in mobile phones, and they have to take more than 4 periods in a day, and it becomes kind of stressful for their eyes. And not only that, they have to you so some of them have the internet connections stable, and some of them they don't, and some of them even cannot afford this, because these community schools are basically, you all know that they are for it has been the system that the most of the economically backward students are sent to the community schools. That the trend is that in our country, it doesn't mean that the quality is low, but still the practice is that. So as a teacher, I feel a kind of challenge in different ways. Equality issues, the inclusion issues, and then let not the students feel kind of stressed regarding their education. So we are trying to manage this slowly, using different kinds of technologies, techniques, and hope to be better in the coming days, because students are also now slowly being adapted to whatever they have, and then they are trying to cope up with the situation. And yeah, of course,
Thank you very
these are
much.
my experiences. Thank you.
Thank you. So we go to Professor Gawali and then maybe Professor Bhandari. Just a minute.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Vista, and good evening and namaste from Nepal. Uh, at the first, I would like to thank you for this opportunity, for this platform, that I can develop some more innovative ideas from this learning in this evening from Nepal. And the another thing that I adopted as a teacher, I used Google Classroom for the learners, especially in the higher education. And then after I thought it will be better if I find out how they are experiencing to the use of Google Classroom. Then I developed the intervention for 1 month. 1 month intervention I developed. Then after in the intervention, the learners found it very much friendly because this Karnal province has lots of digital divide situations in case of usability, in case of access. Then this can run, Google Classroom can run through the mobile data as well. It doesn't need more broadband. That's why it is also friendly, and it is also no cost needed for them, by which learners got highly effective. And then after they begin to transfer to their own classroom, because most of the learners are the teachers, they are teaching in the schools. And they started transforming this learning to their own classroom. And there I found that there is the diffusion in the classroom, diffusion in the society. That's why I found this is one part. In next part, in for the case of the school levels, for the case of the school levels, they are in the practice of Surkhet, one of the districts of Karnal province, we divided our learners into 5 categories because there were the learners of the different variabilities. Likewise, some have the access of the internet, some has only access of the television, some has only access of the radio, and some learners do not have any access. So how can we develop strategies for these one? Because we are only thinking about the online for the alternative uses, but we have to think of any other sources for the alternative practices for teaching learning by which we can continue it. That's why we divided our learners into 5 different parts in different categories, and we develop different strategies. And this the same thing, like about 1 week ago, I published that in one of the newspapers in Nepal, that is online cover. There, how can we deal with these things? And we are doing this accordingly, that one, and it is being effective. And the most important thing is connected with the parenting education. We are connecting this also because this is the time to transform education system with the parents. We are involving parents in evaluation. We are involving parents for their teaching learning process at their home. That's why this might be one of the new transformative ways and one of the innovative practices in case of the school level. We are thinking so, and in the higher education also. That's why, and this from this evening, I also developed some more insights and will try to think of any new strategies. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Sir.
Professor Diwali. Ashok, quickly, less than 30 seconds, if you have any note observation on the 1 minute reflection.
Well, thank you very much, sir. So it's my pleasure to be in this webinar. I was expecting was like some new technologies and new ways through which we could just make our interaction with the students better.
To develop spaces for students to interact with each other and share their thoughts and reflections on the topic of discussion for the class asynchronously. Because many a times during synchronous class sessions, students were experiencing internet fluctuations, power shutdowns, and all kinds of issues. So we tried to maximize student engagement and also student and teacher engagement asynchronously. Okay, we use different of course, Moodle is our official university platform that we use over here, but outside of that, we started using blogs, wikis, all kinds of online digital spaces to allow students and teachers opportunity to interact with each other and share their thoughts and reflections asynchronously whenever it is possible. And that has really helped in really establishing more engagement amongst the students and also student faculty interaction that has facilitated a lot in the middle of the pandemic. That's one thing I wanted to share with all of you. Asynchronous online discussions.
Okay, we want to hear the voice of Dr. Thomas and Dr. Lee, particularly in the context of some countries where the expectation of the parents and teacher are very different. They believe being online for 6 or 8 hours is learning. They believe that, constantly being on the screen is something. Is there some other recommendation where teacher can take a privilege of making materials and a student can do on their own, and decrease the online presence. I mean, not online presence. What I mean is the screen time, so the student can do some activities. And we heard the issues of the electricity to computer devices, too many things. What would be the thoughts? We'd like to hear from Dr. Thomas and then Dr. Lee.
Sure, I can jump in for a moment. I work with faculty every day, hundreds of faculty over the course of a year, and faculty who often are thrown into a teaching mode that they don't want to do. So it's really easy for faculty to say, oh, well, I didn't sign up to teach remotely, or I'm not supposed to be teaching online. So it's really easy to slip into this idea that you don't have to reflect. It's really hard for a lot of us, just as human beings, to reflect and say, wow, I really could have, like Tony was saying earlier, really being able to look at your teaching practices and laugh a little bit at yourself. That's really important, and it's among the hardest things we do. So I'm just really heartened that, of course, you were people all committed to continuous improvement. I really have appreciated all the ideas that you have today. And there have been so many great ideas about how to engage students in an online format. I'm not sure I have much to add, except that giving students choice is something that's really important. And that also helps provide different learning formats. Like if you say, well, you can do a discussion forum or you can submit a podcast. I mean, giving students choice is sometimes counterintuitive to the structure we want to have. But I would just make a pitch for giving students choice and really offering student support online as you might in the face-to-face classroom. So yeah, I don't have great revelations at this point, but especially about how to deal with parents, which some of us, even those of us who teach in higher education, sometimes we deal with parents, don't have a good solution there. Maybe one thing, and then I'll stop talking. I know some faculty think, oh, I'm going to tape my hour and 20-minute lecture. One best practice that's happening is faculty doing short bursts, like a 3 to 5 minute recording on a particular learning outcome or a particular topic. So that's one idea that I'm not sure came up today. So thank you all for your wonderful ideas. It's been helpful.
Dr. Lee?
From my perspective, I think one of the biggest things is to change the mindset. I think one of the challenges people are cooped up in this COVID pandemic situations, but as educators, we need to have a more positive mindset, helping the parents and the students to see the potential. Even despite the COVID pandemic, we still have the opportunity to educate the students. So helping the parents to change the mindset to see this as an opportunity instead of a burden or an obstacle for the kids to learn. The other thing is, I think a lot of kids, because they are learning inside the household or within the enclosed environment, actually the meeting time is probably a good opportunity for students to engage with their peers, because they don't see their peers as often like they used to. So make it more fun. Maybe the instructors or the teachers can create something more fun activities during the meeting time, so that the parents see the potential to help the kids to grow more in a positive ways with the emotional and the mental health being. So I think those are the two pieces that I think it will be helpful to parents, to teachers, as we try to move on to this online learning piece.
Share some experience, not more of a professor now, but as a doctoral student who have had to support quite a bit of professors as teaching assistant. I know one of the professors I've taken in their class used Kahoot. So this is a statistics class. and most of the classes are already pre-recorded classes that students watch before class. Then they have this 1 hour to kind of debrief from the video that students already watched, and you can bring your questions, new ideas, ask the professor questions, but also the professors try to incorporate these Kahoot games to ask some interesting questions. And a lot of students do participate in those kind of games, fun online activities. Also, in a class I'm currently serving as teaching assistant, one of the things we also do is to help students prepare for the new week. So every Friday, the teaching assistant or I kind of compile an announcement of what students need to do for the next week, because sometimes this bulk of information and deadline could get lost within Canvas or any of the other system being used. But kind of having this step by step to say, on Monday, this is going to happen. You need to read this stuff. On Tuesday, this is going to happen. You need to do this. I think those also help students to get organized and not be really overwhelmed with the bulk of information and links and website they need to flip through before they can achieve what they want to achieve. I'm not sure that would work necessarily in a developing context where there are myriads of challenges already, but I think those are some of the practices I think could be implemented. Yeah.
Thank you, Sam. I will get to one of our colleagues here, Dr. Prakash Bhattarai. He's the department chair and professor at Kathmandu University. He has been mentoring and chairing several doctoral students there. The question here is, are we implementing too many, platform devices or apps for the learning and confusing our students? How often are we asking our students, what they're going through? Because as a professor, we want to try best of the best, approach. So anything you want to say, Dr. Bhattarai, over to you.
Uh, Thank you, Professor Vista and Morgan State University for this opportunity. We had a practice of delivering online courses and Moodle platform before there was the pandemic. So as the pandemic started, we switched our classes online within a week. So it was quite difficult for us, but later we managed it. To my experience, participation of the students is not that much difficult, but the meaningful participation of them is quite challenging. So we developed many strategies for the students when we deliver the classes online. For example, we divide the students in group and we may ask them to discuss in the issue, and they come up with certain issues and present it. And we avoid long lecture and plan several short activities. Let's say maybe, as previous speaker suggested, 2-3 minute activities or some kind of short kind of like sessions. We organize in that way. In doing so, we try to be much flexible and provide enough opportunities and encourage students to express their views and reflect their ideas and their research and opinions as well. So these are some strategies that we do apply. Thank you, Professor Vista.
Thank you very much. In the chat, Manuel has listed a number of the applications that could be helpful, useful. Thank you so much. Anyone wants to share the student perspective? As a student, what could be your experience? We like to hear. I know here are many professors who can speak all day. Maybe Miss Garrett or any other graduate student, undergraduate, if any here in the room want to share your quick thought, if you have any. If not, we can move on. Okay.
I can kind of mention one strategy that I've done
Please.
to my graduate students. So one thing that I always do, particularly for online courses, is during the first week is to administer a survey to understand students' interests and needs in the online course, because I think that helps faculty member understand whether or not the student have, reliable internet access and equipment to access Canvas or Blackboard, etc. It also helps the faculty member understand student learning preferences, whether they prefer, synchronous method or asynchronous methods or a mix of instructional methods in the classroom, as well as it helps faculty members understand graduate students, you know, accessibility requests regarding the course. If they, some students may have learning disability, and how can the faculty member differentiate the instruction in the online course. So I think creating some sort of survey during the first week um, of class, particularly for an online course, will help graduate students, let the faculty member know what are their interests and what are their needs in terms of learning online.
Thank you, Dr. Chen. That's very helpful.
There's an assumption that at the graduate level, that as students, we may not be experiencing some of the inequities that may be experienced in K through 12 or younger with younger students, but many are parents. And so help to know that there were tools available and resources, even as graduates. For example, at Morgan State, they offered through a grant, free laptops, not only for undergraduate students, but also for graduate students. They put out information to help cover the cost of high-speed internet access. Learning about where you can get different books or guides or things that you can use online. For example, Dr. Bista, in his signature, he has the link for the Purdue OWL or APA information, because you may not be able to purchase an APA manual, but that is something that is essential to be aware of as a graduate student. At least at Morgan State University, we use APA. So I just wanted to touch on that, because I think those kind of assessments and gaining that information is critical.
Yeah, and I echo Dr. Reed. It's, not everyone has access to a computer or internet or even high-tech gadgets. So it's important to understand their needs and meet them where they are presently, whether they are in a low-income country or a low-income family. Everyone has different resources that are available in online courses.
Thank you. We are almost top of the hours. Couple of housekeeping items here. Dr. Roy Chen and the team is working on a new book on online teaching learning. After this pandemic or during pandemics, we want to see the revised updates or your practice application that you have been doing. He will put the link in the chat. The book is scheduled to publish with Macmillan Palgrave, Springer, the same company together. That's the one housekeeping. And you are the instructor, you are in the classroom, you have the more power and privilege to modify your classes and be different from what we used to teach in face-to-face. So please exercise your power and privilege to support your students, no matter where we teach, no matter how much resources we have. You are the change maker. You can make a change. I believe in that. These are some of the questions we'll take away with us, and you will receive the follow-up email along with some of the book chapter and resources from me and my team. And this is a bigger question. We have been reflecting this one, from our mentors, from yourself, and other places. Sometimes we might be doing too much, other time maybe not doing enough. So think the balance where you can do. We have several other events coming up throughout the year. So here are the 9 listed until June of this year, from February all the way to June. Some of them are about the teaching learning, other are more about being a part of the publication process as a reviewer or editors. Some of them are more about the student voice or institutional voice. So we'll have a similar pattern of the sessions. Also, I encourage you to write the essay. Essays are encouraged to write in 8 different languages. You can choose any language of your choice. We want to know the student voices, student experiences. We will have a similar series on pandemic experiences. This one is more the cross-cultural experience. The deadline is October 30th of this year. Then we have several journals. We have also partnered with the big time publishing house, including Taylor Francis, Springer, Macmillan, and then other couple of new publishing houses are coming. We have open access journal, no fees to publish with them. And then also we have books. And also I'm grateful to my colleagues who are at the Star Scholars doing this process of the publication, seminar, workshop, and also grateful to the Star Scholars team and the colleagues there. I think that's all I have here. So thank you very much for your privilege of your time to be with us almost 1.5 hours. Thank you so much. I will see you in the next session.
Thank you.
Thank you.